Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between, I'm your host Isaac, and I welcome all of you to the Biweekly Breakdown, the show where I every other week break down the 24 battles that's been played and compile a top 5 list out of them. Now hopefully it's not news to anyone that I'm a big fan of setup and sweeps in general, and week 5 and 6 gave us some amazing setup sweeps, which is why week 5 and 6 of the Biweekly Breakdown will be a setup special. But before getting into the breakdown, I feel like it's very important that I mention, as per usual, these picks are 100% subjective. But with that boring shit out of the way, I say we take a look at the list of week 5 and 6. At the number 5 spot, we find someone you're very familiar with at this point, because it's Cav of the Guardian Guardians versus Dandiam of the Weather Boulders in their week 6 battle. Now the first 16 turns of the battle were very standard, to say the least. Just overall chip damage, putting up stealth rocks, throwing out some toxics, you know, the usual. But after Cav picked up the KO on Landorus, I think he realized that Dandiam had no Terrakion switch-ins left on his team, which is why Cav throws out hard switch-ins into the Terrakion on the Togetic, predicting the heal bell, correct prediction might I add, set up one rock polish and sweeps the entire team. With one Terrakion. No sword stance needed. This game was a perfect example of those sweeps when you give zero fucks. But I have to add why this isn't higher on the list, and something that's very important to note is that there were some hacks involved. I don't know if the Continental Crush crit on the Mesprit actually mattered, but one thing I know mattered was the Rock Slide flinch on the Altaria. You know, stuff like that happens, it's Pokemon, but it obviously would have changed the outcome, at least the differential of the game, but I don't think it would have changed the outcome since Dandiam was down 2-5 if the flinch wouldn't have come through. But either way, entertaining as hell, all hell to watch, very nice. At the number 4 spot, we actually find a newcomer to these kind of videos, because it's the one guy of Team MMB versus Troy of the Weather Boulders in their week 5 battle. Now this entry might as well have been given to Troy instead, because it just took 2 turns for him to start setting up Dragon Dances on his Salamence, but sadly for him, 2 Dragon Dances wasn't enough to break the Gore guys, so it sadly just died on the Hidden Power Ice. Now the reason this goes to the one guy is because of his trusty Shadow Tag Calm Mind Gothitelle. But don't get me wrong, Troy prepped for this because he had Roar on his Vaporeon, but sadly for him, when the one guy's back was up against the wall and he only had one Mon left, being his Gothitelle versus Troy's Scizor and Vaporeon, you can't Roar that, because it's his only Mon left. So what happened in the end was that he actually got the +6 Calm Mind versus Troy's Vaporeon, which gave him a pretty easy cleanup in the end, giving him the 1-0 victory over Troy. At the number 3 spot, we find RattataMeN of the Garden Guardians versus Troy, once again, of the Weather Boulders in their week 6 battle. Sorry, Troy. Now something I know from first-hand experience is that when playing versus Rat's team, you have to be on edge 24/7, because either he'll just straight up break you with his Mega Mawile, or he'll just set up after his Memento Whimsicott throws out the Memento. Something he did in this game too, where he actually got up a Sword Stance on his Toxicroak, picking up the KO on the Salamence with Sucker Punch, but Troy's very fast Miltank outsped it and just killed it in the end, so it didn't really do much except killing the Salamence, which is good, but I mean, it's a waste of Memento and Sword Stance, so yeah. And picking up the KO on the Toxicroak gave Troy the 4-3 advantage and actually swayed the momentum in his favor very heavily, and I actually thought that this game was soon to be over at this point, but I was very wrong. And remember that part when I mentioned you have to be on edge when playing against Rat's team? Yeah, this is where that comes in, because when he was up against Troy's very low Miltank, down 2-4, he just throws in his Neo-Lego and starts spamming power gems. But Troy still had his Scizor left on the team, and something Neo-Lego is known for, very, very fragile, especially on the physically defensive side. But Rat was prepared for this, because when Troy threw in his Scizor after the Neolego got 1 Beast Boost, he threw out the Bullet Punch, but he had Babiri Berry on the Neolego, saving it from the 1-hit KO from Scizor's Bullet Punch, quite easily cleaning up the rest of Troy's team. 2 versus 4. So, very impressive reverse sweep. And at the number 2 spot, we find another newcomer, because it's Jermoi of Team G.G.K taking over Lazy Ghost versus Tony of N.D.M in their Week 5 battle. Now, the way Jermoi played this battle is the textbook definition of mindless setup. He did not set up once, he didn't set up twice, he set up 3 times on 3 different mons. Firstly trying on the Calm Mind Audino, didn't work. Then the Tail Glow Manaphy, that didn't work either. And lastly, he throws in the Lurantis, which, may I add, I forgot was even a Pokemon, let alone knew that it had Contrary, and he spams out Leaf Storm's superpower, gaining him double special attack, +1 in attack 2, and just finishing off the rest of the team with Giga Drain and Leaf Storms all around. Like, if anyone remembers last season of OWL, and especially the Biweekly Breakdown, remember Captain Sebasaur? He was literally in every episode? Yeah, that guy. He set up every single time on his Dragonite and Linoon. I got the same feeling and same vibes from this game. Zero fucks, set up till it works, and it worked out, and it was incredibly fucking entertaining to watch. So, GG Jermoi, keep it up. And on the number 1 spot of this bi-weekly breakdown setup special, we find Haz of Team Charm versus Sip of the G.G.K in their Week 6 battle. Now, what made this battle very special was not only that Haz 6-0'd Sip, but it's the way he did it, with his Calm Mind Comfey picking up 5 kills. 5 kills with a damn Comfey. But before getting into the setup, I have to add that the battle started off regularly. You know, you had the regular setup rocks, chip down. I think it took a while until we had the first knockout. We had a pretty manly set from Sip, being the Focus Punch Hoopa. Pretty nice, I have to add. It didn't really do much, but you get some credit for that. You get credit for that. But shit gets interesting when Sip clicks Outrage on the 26th turn, locking himself into that, giving Haz a free switch-in into Comfey, and this is where the magic happens. So Haz's Comfey starts setting up Calm Minds, you know, as you do. Sip throws in his Milotic, and I think he wanted to hide the fact that he actually was Mirror Coat so he could pick up the KO. So he just starts spamming Recover and Scald to get some chip, maybe a burn on the Comfey. But the really decisive point was at turn 33. Haz's Comfey is a +4, and I'm assuming Sip thought the Draining Kiss would come now because he clicks Mirror Coat, but Haz actually clicks Calm Mind. This revealing the Mirror Coat on the Milotic and bringing that awareness to Haz, making Haz very wary of when to click Draining Kiss and when to just spam Calm Mind, even though he's a +6. Now what this ends up becoming is a prediction stalemate, because the Comfey is a +6 and the Milotic is slowly getting chipped down by the Flame Orb, something Haz is very aware of because he just spams Calm Minds, predicting that Sip will go for either Recover or the Mirror Coat. And after 8 turns of this stalemate, Haz recognizes that he can actually pick up the Milotic KO with 1 Draining Kiss when the Milotic hits 70%, and at turn 43, 8 turns after he hits +6 on his Comfey, he picks up the KO on the Milotic and the rest of Sip's team, giving him the 6-0 victory in the end. Overall, a very skillful way to close out the game, and in the process earning Haz of Team Charm the number 1 spot on this special episode of the Biweekly Breakdown. And that's gonna be the end of the video. As always, all the relevant links are in the description below. I hope you enjoyed, and I also hope you're as excited as I am for the end of the season and playoffs. And now that the bi-weekly breakdown and the weekly wind down are back on track, hopefully it will stay that way until the end of the season. Once again, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.